Hello and welcome back to the Captain Mustard arm of the Project Nigel division. Two things to tell you. One is that I'm very thirsty because I've not had a cup of tea in about 18 hours. And the other is I don't want to go to the doctors. Ever. So I'm going to have a cup of coffee with the tiniest pinch of salt and no milk. A tiny bit of salt takes away that horrible bitterness that you get in coffee. Now, that might sound like that's what I'm here to talk about today, but it isn't. I'm going to talk about doctors and going to the doctors or not. When it comes to certain things, I can be a very patient man. I've done an awful lot of things within my life that has taken an extraordinary amount of patience. So it can't be that I just can't be bothered. But one thing I'm not prepared to do is phone the doctors up at 8 o'clock in the morning and just meander around the front room and kitchen area whilst I'm on hold. No, and then only to find that the only appointment available is at a time that's the most inconvenient. I miss the days where you could just go to the doctors and say, I could do with an appointment because there's something wrong with me. Oh, could you come in tomorrow? We're busy today. Yes, but apparently so many people get better by the next day and then don't cancel their appointment that they don't want to do that any longer. And apparently this isn't even a new thing. But how would I know? I don't go to the doctors. I don't go to the doctors for one simple reason. I'm not going to go to the doctors because I've got a snuffly nose, or because I've got an earache, or because my elbow hurts because I've twatted it on a door, or because I've got piles, which I haven't, or want a prescription for something I can just go and pay for myself at the chemist. No. And that means that enough time has passed by for everything to change and for me not to have a clue about it. And so it seems that most people are such wet lettuces that they will go to the doctors with the smallest of condition rather than just sitting it through to see whether, it gets any worse. But recently I have been tempted. In fact, about a month ago, I was tempted to make myself an appointment at the doctor's. And then the issue that I have still hasn't gone away. So 3.5 months I've been suffering with this thing where I cannot get unblocked. My ears are blocked, my nose is blocked, my head hurts half the time, I'm struggling to speak, although you wouldn't know it because I'm such an articulate chap. Although only when I'm making a real effort to speak properly. The rest of the time I just mumble away and it's like this, and all slurred away, and I think, is that how my voice sounds normally? Am I such a mumbling arsehole that no wonder people don't want to know me? Is that what it is? Well, this is a wake-up call I wasn't expecting. I am a firm believer of things getting better by themselves. I don't like antibiotics because they mess about with your immune system and your gut health, etc. I don't like painkillers because all that does is mask a symptom, and I could buy painkillers, but I won't buy them because I don't want to mask a symptom, and that's normally where you get offered. This is working. 20 years ago, or thereabouts, I went to the doctors because I pulled something in my back, and I believe I ended up with sciatica. It was incredibly painful. I couldn't get my socks on, I couldn't get up the stairs, and what was I given? Painkillers. Really aggressive painkillers. The kind of painkillers that really made my head feel incredibly strange, and I realised I shouldn't drive whilst taking them. But at no point did anybody say, right, what you need to do is stop sitting around on your arse feeling sorry for yourself and just get moving. Gradually moving. Keep yourself moving and it will sort itself out. I can't remember who told me that, but it worked. Also, the bottle of rum I drunk helped as well. That's a painkiller and a more pleasurable one to take. Yes, the bottle of rum was almost a natural remedy. Ever since then, it's come and gone. I've had only a couple of bouts where it's been incredibly bad, but most of the time I can feel something happen. So what do? I get moving around. I don't pop any painkillers, I just keep moving. And because of that, it's been 11 years since I've had it really bad. Weird, eh? Yes, because bodies don't naturally fix themselves. They're supposed to get worse as you get older. It's a good thing that I have a natural stubbornness to not want to take things. It's not about not wanting to help myself. It's about being slightly cynical about why this help's being given. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but why? Why do we need all this medication? I know plenty of people who've had something wrong and they take medication for it, and that medication has a side effect, and they have to take some more medication to combat that, and that medication has a side effect, and so they have to take some more medication to combat that. People end up on a lifetime of medication because the actual problem wasn't fixed, and instead symptoms managed. So the last time I went to the doctors was a few years back for a checkup. And guess what? Yeah, something was wrong. Slightly high blood pressure. I had to take this machine home to monitor it all the time. But what did that do? Make me feel a little bit anxious, because obviously I didn't want to be in my 50s with high blood pressure, with the promise of having to go onto some sort of medication that I'd have to live with for the rest of my life. Although I was advised about diet making a difference and I should watch what I eat, that didn't seem to be put forward as the actual solution to the problem. As it goes, I was eating far too many pasties at the time. Too many chippy dinners. Too many things that really wasn't particularly good for me. All of those carbs, which I previously believed was the kind of thing you're supposed to eat. Oh yes, and with the polyunsaturated oils that you find inside everything as well, and staying away from proper butter. How wrong does this advice need to be before more people just think, let's not go to the doctors ever again? Anyway, the following time I went back, I said, let me have a couple of months of just changing the way I eat and I'll come back. And that's what I did, and then it was fine. No need for any medical intervention at all. And I did, and have, mentioned the amount of weight I happened to lose just by eating eggs and chicken and meat. And then, once I'd lost the weight, I went back to eating crap. Didn't all pile back on, but what did happen was an increase of aches and pains in joints, my ankles, my hips, my knees, my back. Had I been the kind of person that would have just gone straight to the doctors, or the kind of person that would have been happy to hang around on hold for half an hour to find out whether you can go to the doctors, or had the doctors had a system where you can just go there and get yourself an appointment, I'm fairly sure I would have been put on some sort of medication for arthritis. So imagine the difference. Here I would have been, as I am now, on medication for arthritis and statins for blood pressure, avoiding cholesterol like avoiding thinking your way out of a hole. So, I'm glad I questioned this, and it's just made me question more and more. Up until fairly recently, I had no idea about the benefits of fasting, yet it's been known about for thousands of years. It was actually my plan to start a 72-hour fast off a couple of days back, but I got distracted eating food, and so it kind of went out the window. However, I did have my last bit of food last night at about 5 o'clock, and I'm approaching the 24-hour mark not that long off, and I feel fine. So that's going to be for another day. But the point of this video being is that I want to live as long as possible, and I want to be healthy. And so far, I'm finding that most of what I used to know is pretty much incorrect. And that's great, because it means that whilst the information I had before wasn't really giving me a particularly good future, now I have got a good future. And so, as a conclusion to this video, I'm willing to try a proper fast to see if we can get rid of this bunged up thing. Now that might sound like a really weird thing to do, but nothing else is working, and I don't want to do antibiotics. And antibiotics work anyway. So I've got to do something, because I need to start being able to communicate effectively again. Fasting can fix all sorts of things, and it's uncomfortable, and it's not really how you want to do things. It's suffering. You know, hello, what are you going to do this week? I'm going to suffer. I'm going to make myself suffer. Although, maybe fasting could be like the new veganism, where you have to tell people about it. But on the 22nd of December, it doesn't really seem like the time to do it. Because if I do 72, I've got another 2 days, which means I won't be able to eat anything until nighttime, Christmas Eve. So I'm going to admit to two things here. One is that I quite like the idea of that. That makes it even more festive for me, not eating anything, having the best excuse possible to be antisocial. That really does appeal. But instead, I'm going to prepare myself the other way and carry on doing the 18:6. That is 6-hour window for eating if you want to do, and an 18-hour window for not eating, because it does help. And with that, I shall come back after Christmas and do a proper 72-hour fast, and I'm looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to it. Bye bye.